Welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, April 8, 2021. I am Rochelle Baptiste with the details. An evacuation order has been issued for residents in the days of Soufriere volcano, with the alert level now at red. The order was issued by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves at an emergency news briefing this afternoon. He noted that the decision was based on advice from lead monitoring scientist Dr. Richard Robertson, who indicated that conditions at the volcano continue to deteriorate.
Acting on the advice of the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, and pursuant to sections 33 and 40 of the National Emergency and Disaster Management Act, Chapter 88 of the Laws of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I hereby order as follows. 1. The evacuation of all premises in the areas designated as the red zone on the northeast and northwest of St. Vincent, and the evacuation of the area itself. So an evacuation of the premises in the red zone on the northeast and the northwest, and evacuation of the areas themselves. And 2, the exclusion of persons, vessels, or vehicles from such premises and areas, save and except for the purpose of effecting the said evacuation.
The lead monitoring scientist, Dr. Richard Robertson, detailed the conditions at the volcano, explaining that based on heightened activity, the evacuation order should be issued in order to safeguard the lives of Vincentians living in and around the volcano.
As the Prime Minister indicated, activity at Soufriere changed significantly early this morning with the onset of what we call tremor activity. And tremor at a volcano, you can think of it as simply that the volcano is shaking throughout the day. And you've had, I believe, 6 periods of tremor interspersed by about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. The significant thing that's changed since the last briefing, though, is that the last period of tremor was accompanied by periods of venting, gas venting, significant pulsing at the volcano, where it looks clearly like if it's, for want of a better word, looks like it's trying to clear its throat. So it indicates to us that we can have explosion, and at this point, we cannot say for sure and cannot give any further clear warning that nothing would happen within the next 24 to 48 hours. So therefore, when we brief the Prime Minister, is what to say that there's no further warning we expect, and therefore to guarantee safety of people, he needs to take, it's best to take certain decisions. So we seem to be clearly heading into something that might be explosive, and therefore we need to take necessary actions to safeguard life.
With the issuance of the evacuation order, head of the National Emergency Management Organization, Michelle Forbes, said all emergency shelters have been activated, with the heads of the shelters contacted.
As the Honourable Prime Minister indicated, our alert level is raised now to red alert. It means that an explosive eruption is imminent. So we have raised the alert level to red, and an evacuation order has been given. The communities in the red zone, we are asking you to prepare and commence the evacuation, those who can actually self-evacuate. And the communities in the red zone are basically from Georgetown northwards to Fancy. On the leeward side, we want the communities of Richmond, Chateaubelair, Fitzhughes to also evacuate, and that will include Petit Bodel. So I reiterate, the first phase of evacuation to commence with the communities in the red zone and those closest to the volcano on the leeward side of the island. So the red zone, I repeat, basically Georgetown northwards to Fancy, and the communities in the orange zone closest to the volcano, Chateaubelair, Fitzhugh, and that includes the community in the red zone of Richmond. All emergency shelters to be activated at this time. The Ministry of Education has already contacted those emergency shelter managers, and as Prime Minister indicated, we have already been coordinating with the vessels to do a sea evacuation from Chateaubelair to Barley at least, and that has started. The vessel should have left Kingston or preparing to leave Kingston.
With sea and ground evacuations of persons on the leeward and windward sides of the island expected to take place, Forbes reminded persons of items they should be taken with them to the various emergency shelters.
I want to encourage persons who are evacuating, take with you your necessary supplies, a bit of food, a bit of water, at least to last you for the night, especially if you're going into the emergency shelters. Let's be cooperate with each other and continue. You know the assembly points in your community. We will indicate at what time the buses will get to the community. For those persons who do not have their private transport. We expect that you'll do this in an orderly fashion. We're in the COVID-19 environment. All persons evacuating and going to the emergency shelter must also wear their mask.
Meanwhile, SVG is expected to receive assistance from several neighboring countries and cruise lines with the evacuation of residents from the danger zones. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves spoke on the evacuation plan and the support being provided to SVG at the emergency news briefing this afternoon.
Other countries in the region who have offered temporary hospitality, namely St. Lucia, Grenada, Barbados, Antigua. The arrangements have not been made in respect of the BVI, the British Virgin Islands, but that offer is on hand. I have spoken to the Minister of National Security in the government of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Stuart Young, speaking on behalf of Prime Minister Rowley, and they have offered support in every material particular, and so too the President of the Republic of Guyana. The Premier of Montserrat has sent his support and regards, and I've been advised by Camilo that the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis has been trying to get me, but I was in the meeting with Nemo, and he's now at a press briefing, and I will speak to him shortly. I've been advised that he too has offered, if required, to take persons, if they so desire, for a short period of time during this heightened volcanic activity, this period of evacuation.
The Royal Caribbean Cruise Line and the Carnival Cruise Line have also offered their support. Royal Caribbean will provide 3 vessels, while Carnival Cruise Line will provide 2 vessels to aid with the evacuation.
Royal Caribbean is offering 3 vessels, 3 ships. 2 of them will come by tomorrow morning. A 3rd one will come subsequently. And Carnival Cruise Line, through the Minister of Tourism, has indicated that by tomorrow evening there will be 2 cruise ships from Carnival. I should point out that the cruise ships of Royal Caribbean will be first used to transport the persons from St. Vincent and the Grenadines who are to be evacuated to other islands. Having transported persons, they would be available for a short period of time. They have not indicated what period of time to hold our people who are evacuated. I don't know yet all the details in relation to the Carnival cruise line.
Prime Minister Gonzalez also noted that both cruise lines are indicating that persons must be vaccinated in order to board the ships. It is not clear if vaccination will be carried out prior to boarding. And Prime Minister Gonzalez advised the Vincentian public to remain calm as we brace for the imminent eruption of La Soufriere. The Prime Minister said while everything may not go according to plan, calm must prevail in order for peace to be maintained.
Be calm. Do not panic. Be orderly. Be disciplined. And with God's grace, we will get through this very well. I repeat, morning by morning, new mercies we see. All that we need, thy hand has provided. Great is thy faithfulness. Thank you very much, and may Almighty God continue to bless all of us in this difficult, this trying period. Thank you.
And the team from the opposition New Democratic Party, the NDP, met today with officials from the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO. In a Facebook post, party leader Dr. Godwin Friday said they were briefed by Dr. Richard Robertson, who is the lead scientist monitoring developments at the volcano. Also present in the meeting was the director of NEMO, Michelle Forbes, and her deputy. And Dr. Friday said they went through a developing evacuation plan in light of a possible volcanic eruption, and they conveyed their commitment to helping in any way possible to contribute to the country's disaster preparedness response. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Simone Keyser-Beach said the services at the Modern Medical and Diagnostic Center in Georgetown will be moved to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. This was announced at a news conference held earlier today prior to the evacuation order. Georgetown is in the red zone of the volcano.
The Modern Medical and Diagnostic Center, the Smart Hospital in Georgetown, in the event of evacuation, those facilities will be closed. Health workers will not be there. They will move their services down to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. So, for example, we have dialysis at the Modern Medical and Diagnostic. Those services will be moved to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, and we would partner with our private sector colleagues to allow for the continuation of dialysis services. In terms of oncology services, chemotherapy services will be moved back to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, and we are currently engaged in ensuring that we can continue to provide those services.
The CMO also noted that persons managing the shelters will have to be vaccinated.
We have asymptomatic spread being the majority of cases. Therefore, because a shelter is defined as a confined space where the risk of spread of a contagious disease such as COVID-19 is great, it is strongly recommended that everyone who will have to be in a shelter or have to be engaged in the management of a shelter be vaccinated as a matter of urgency. Even with one dose, we all know that that allows for some level of immunity, and after the second dose, which we can give at an earlier date, you have a significant level of immunity which protects you from severe COVID and from the possibility of death at admission.
Dr. Keyser-Beach said persons can be vaccinated at all health centers in the safe zones, which will be opened.
At this time, it is extremely important that we understand the risk involved in gathering in a shelter. We have sufficient vaccines on hand. All of our clinics are open and ready to allow for vaccination and testing as necessary. And we really do urge everyone in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the persons who are in the red zones, which would have to be evacuated if there's an evacuation order, and the persons they are coming to. So we are not just looking at the evacuees, we are looking at where are they going to. Are they going to homes? Are those persons protected? So we really do urge that this takes place.
All members of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force and its auxiliary forces who are currently on vacation leave were informed that all leave has been cancelled with immediate effect. This statement was issued in a news release by the RSVG Police Force, in which it was noted that all officers are to report for duty at their respective stations or units and departments immediately. At this morning's press conference, Commissioner of Police Colin said that the police are ready to take up their roles to ensure the security of citizens.
In terms of how persons would evacuate and different points that they would have to meet. So this morning we're just fine-tuning that. So we also have to look at the security aspect of things, because in most cases police officers, they play a pivotal role in the management of the evacuation facilities or the places where the persons are evacuated to. So that is something that we have in mind. We know that Volcano is very dynamic and we cannot cater for every eventuality, but as best as possible, we are doing that. We are also in consultation with the Ministry of Agriculture in terms of evacuation of animals and the places that they will be kept, the security of property of the persons who are evacuated from the area. The Coast Guard, we know we would have to do some additional sea patrols to make sure that persons' fears are allayed, that they feel they would have more reason, or they would feel more inclined to want to leave the disaster or the red zone.
Meanwhile, Minister of Agriculture Saboto Caesar said that 90% of animals in the red zone have been tagged and are ready to be removed. He said that areas have been identified to take in animals, which started several weeks ago.
There would be a devastating impact from the ash and other material on the agriculture sector. And persons, you know, we have this mantra that life and living has to continue as best as possible. So then we'd have that phase that we will go into the recovery. But as it pertains to the animals, we have also identified two major areas where persons will be, the transportation system from the state will be in place to take the animals there. For example, one area on the windward side is Mikey Darborough, where he has an area there, and I'm advised by the vet division that they will put in place the water tanks, and that's why it's very important to have the tagging.
The minister said provisions have also been made for the moving of bees
into the production of bees, apiculture. I'm aware that they will be taking them down to a site at where we had the old airport at Ornesville. So a lot of work has been done, and all of this is in preparation.
All schools across St. Vincent and the Grenadines will remain closed until further notice. A school was scheduled to be reopened on April 12, 2021. Today, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said that teachers and students will continue with online teaching.
And you're talking about a period of evacuation lasting up to about 4 months. Well, obviously, at the appropriate time, when that happens, we'll have to speak in terms of when it is likely that school would return for face-to-face classes. In the meantime, we will continue to do teaching and learning by distance. And that's why all the devices are important. Wherever you are, you're going to have your device. And we can teach and we can learn. I know that practical adjustments would have to be made, but it's not beyond human ingenuity to make those adjustments. Those are details which the relevant persons who are involved in the ministry, the teachers themselves.
And Chairperson of the Fancy Disaster Preparedness Response Committee speaks to SVG-TV News today on the mood of residents in light of the heightened activity of the volcano.
As I said, people are packing. They are ready to move. Some people would have left already. I just saw a truck gone there with some people. So that's about it. But I think everybody's prepared and ready to move.
Okay, what about you?
I'm getting ready to move too. If the evacuation order is given and the camps are open, then people would go to the camps. But for right now, those who are moving, they are going to families. Some persons would have rented houses, so they are moving to them.
Rosehall farmer Lennox Lampkin also speaks to SVG-TV News on what he has been observing around the summit of the volcano.
I'm looking at it with the binoculars. The whole upper the upper southwestern edge is on fire at the moment, and it's just like a grass fire, but it's burning right along the edge from about the middle to the western edge. That's already burnt off. There's a bit of fire. You could see every now and again behind the edge of the crater. You could see flames.
You are?
I'm on farm. I'm in Rosehall, so I'm looking over from. I have a direct view. It started. I observed with my naked eye that there was a sort of a lining along the crater edge, a dark lining. So I took the binoculars and looked over and saw flames. Fire burning along the edge. Since this morning, all he has been producing a lot of vapor, like, because when it's producing vapor, it looks like a white cloud. It's the first that I've seen it as active as today, and it's the first time I've seen so much gray smoke. I'm just taking it as it comes. It's very little I could do, but. I'm on farm stocking up on food. I'm trying to get to harvest as much as possible, just in case I have to go into lockdown or anything like that, you know. But I also have livestock. I just had a sheep that had young ones a couple hours ago, so that's what I was taking care of, you know. So it's all these challenges we got to deal with at the same time. You know? I've been trying to arrange something with. I have two or three options of moving them, so I'll be working on that later when I get off the farm.